Hi, welcome to the online lecture of IBM3012, Principles of Marketing Management. In Chapter 17, we're going to learn about personal selling and sales management. First, let's talk about the advantages of personal selling. Personal selling may work better than other forms of promotion given certain customer and product characteristics. Personal selling provides detailed explanation or demonstration of the product. And the message can be varied according to motivations of each customer. Personal selling can be directed only to qualified prospects. The cost can be controlled by adjusting the size of the sales force in one-person increments. Personal selling is considerably more effective than other forms of a promotion in obtaining a sale and gaining a satisfied customer. Exhibit 17.1 compares the effectiveness of personal selling and advertising and sales promotion based on certain customer and product characteristics. Personal selling is more important as the number of potential customers decrease, as the complexity of the product increases, and as the value of the product grows. The personal selling is important if the product is more expensive, and if the product is a custom-made product, if the number of customers are few, the product is technically complex, and customers are concentrated. For example, insurance policies, custom windows, or airplane engines is more appropriate to the personal selling. But advertising and sales promotions are more important if the product has low value and it is a standardized product and there are many customers and product is easy to understand and customers are geographically dispersed. So example of those are the soap, magazine subscriptions, and cotton t-shirts. Next topic is the relationship selling. Until recently, personal selling focused almost entirely on a planned presentation for the purpose of making a sale. In contrast, modern view of personal selling emphasizes the relationship that develops between a salesperson and a buyer. The objective with the relationship selling is to build long-term branded relationships with customers and buyers. The focus is on building mutual trust between the buyer and seller. Salespeople become consultants, partners, and problem solvers as they strive to develop trust and long-term relationships. Personal selling has taken a technological turn in the last decade. So relationship selling or consultative selling is a sales practice that involves building, maintaining, and enhancing interactions with customers in order to develop a long-term good satisfaction through mutually beneficial partnership. And the result of relationship selling tends to be loyal customers who purchase from company time after time. A relationship selling strategy focused on retaining customers costs the company less than prospecting and selling to new customers. Exhibit 17.2 lists the key of differences between traditional personal selling and relationship selling. Relationship or consultative selling sells advice, assistance, and counsel, but traditional personal selling is to just sell the product. Relationship selling focuses on improving the customer's bottom line, but traditional personal selling focuses only on closing the sale. Relationship selling considers sales planning as the top priority, but traditional personal selling is limited to sales planning. Relationship selling spend more contact time attempting to build a problem-solving environment with the customers, and they conduct the discovery in full scope of the customer's operations. And also, team approach to the account is needed for relationship selling, and proposals and presentation is based on profit impact and strategic benefit to the customers. Sales follow-up is a long-term, focused on long-term relationship enhancement for relationship selling, but traditional selling is focusing more on selling out the product itself. Let's talk about the CRM. Customer relationship management assumes two key points. First, customers must take center stage in the organization. Second, the business must manage the customer relationship across all points of customer contact throughout the organization. Each of the steps listed on the slide will be covered in detail over next few slides. First, they have to identify the customer relationship. Second, understand the interactions of the customer base. Third, capture customer data. And the last, leverage customer information. Now let's talk about the first step, identify customer relationship. Customer-centric organizations have managed under the philosophy that company customizes products and service offerings based on the data generated through interactions with the customers and the company. The knowledge management system is the process by which customer information is centralized and shared in order to enhance the relationship between customer and the organization. Organize information gathered through the learning process, and they have to learn via interactions. In a CRM system, an information process of collected customer data through customer comments and feedback on product or service performance. Here, interaction means the point at which the customer and a company representative exchange information and develop learning relationship. In a CRM system, touch points are all areas of a business where customers have contact with the company and the data might be gathered. Touchpoint might include the customer registering from a particular service, a customer communicating with customer service for product information, a customer completing and returning the warranty information card for a product, or a customer talking with a salesperson, delivery personnel, and product installers. So the touchpoint occurs at a wide variety of locations. Web-based interactions are increasingly popular in these days, and one popular touchpoint is the point of sale touchpoint because the consumer and salesperson has to actually meet each other. Vast amount of data can be obtained from the interactions between the organization and its customers. Therefore, in a CRM system, the issue is not how much data can be obtained, but rather what type of data should be acquired and how the data can be effectively be used for relationship enhancement. Interactions between the company and the customer facilitate the collection of large amounts of data. Second is leveraging customer information. Data can be applied to marketing messages for specific audiences. This helps facilitate enhanced relationship with customers in those market segments. There are several database applications that are listed on this slide. CRM provides many opportunities to cross-sell related products. Marketers can use the database to match product profiles and consumer profiles so that they can cross-sell customers' products that match their demographics, lifestyle, or behavioral characteristics. Using transaction and purchase data, a database allows the marketer to track customers' relationship to the company's products and services and modify the marketing message. So, they can use the data for campaign management, retaining loyal customers, cross-selling for products and services, designing targeted marketing communications. If you browse in Amazon.com, you can see suggested products. Those product suggestions is based on your browsing history or purchase history. So that's a good example of cross-selling other products and services. Completing a sale requires several steps. It can be unique for each product or service, depending on the features of the product, characteristics of the customer segment, and internal process within the firm, such as how sales leads are generated. There are 7 basic steps in personal selling process. First is to generate the leads. Second, qualify leads. Third, prove customer needs. Fourth, develop solutions. Fifth, handling objections. Fifth, close the sale. And following up the sales. First, generating leads can happen through advertising, webinars, referrals from other customers, trade shows or conventions, direct mail marketing, networking, social media, telemarketing, and cold calling. Cold calling is a form of lead generation in which the salesperson approaches the potential customers without any prior knowledge of the prospect's needs or financial status. Next is qualifying needs. When a prospect shows interest in learning more about the product, the salesperson has the opportunity to qualify the leads. Lead qualification involves determining whether the prospect has 3 things. First, a recognized needs. Second, the authority to make the purchase decisions and access to funds to pay for it. Third, receptivity and accessibility to the salesperson. Approaching the customer and proving needs. Before approaching the customers, the salesperson should learn as much as possible about the prospect's organization and its buyers. The process, called the pre-approach, describes the homework that must be done by the salesperson before contacting the prospect. The salesperson's ultimate goal during the approach is to conduct a needs assessment to find out as much as possible about the prospect's institution. So the need assessment is the determination of the customer's specific needs and wants and the range of options the customer has for satisfying them. The consultative salesperson must know everything about the product or services that they are offering. They have to know about the customers, they have to know about other competitors, and about the entire industry. Next step is developing and proposing solutions. The sales proposal is a formal written document or professional presentation that outlines how the salesperson's product or service will meet or exceed the prospect's needs. The sales presentation is a formal meeting in which the salesperson presents a sales proposal to prospective buyer. After combining information about the client's needs and wants, the salesperson develops a solution in which the salesperson's product or service solves the client's problem or need. These solutions are typically presented as a sales proposal during a formal sales presentation. Usually, there is only one opportunity to present solution, and salesperson must be able to present the potential and handle any customer objections confidently and professionally. The fifth step is handling objections. The salesperson should not take the objections personally as confrontations or insults. Instead, objections should be handled as a request for information and could be used in a positive way to close the sale. So it can be anticipating specific objections. They have to investigate the objections with the customer, and salesperson has to be aware of competitor's product, and finally, they have to stay calm. And also, they can use the objections to close the sale. Sixth step is closing the sale. Negotiations play a key role in closing the sale. Negotiation is the process during which both the salesperson and the prospect offer special concessions in an attempt to arrive at the sales agreement. A salesperson should emphasize value to the customer, rendering price a non-issue. In foreign market, the sales effort should be tailored to the appropriate way of doing businesses for that culture. So, closing the sale, they have to look for a customer's signal, either facial or body language, and the salesperson has to keep an open mind. They can negotiate, and they have to tailor to each different market and different culture. Final step is the following up. The goal of relationship selling is to motivate customers to purchase again by developing a good long-term relationship. Most businesses depend on repeat sales, and repeat sales depend on follow-up by the salesperson. Furthermore, today's customers are less loyal to brands and vendors. Therefore, follow-up is critical in relationship selling. The salesperson have to ensure that delivery schedules are met, good or service to perform as promised, and buyers' employees are properly trained to use the product. Exhibit 17.5 depicts the time involved in the sales process and how those elements relate to the traditional and relationship selling approaches. So, for generating leads, traditional selling takes a lot of time, but relationship selling takes a small amount of time. But qualifying needs, approaching the customer and probing needs, developing and proposing solutions, relationship and consultative selling has to spend lots of time for that, but traditional selling, they didn't consider that much time spent. But handling objections and closing the sale, since the major purpose of traditional selling is to sell out the product, so they have to spend lots of time for handling objections and closing the sale. But for the relationship and consultative selling, they are considering less about that. Rather, they have to spend more time for following up to build a good long-term relationship, but traditional selling, they don't care much about that. There is an old adage in business that nothing happens until sales is made. Without sales, there's no need for accountants, production workers, or even a company president. Sales provide the fuel that keeps the corporate engine humming. So, sales management must define the sales goal and the sales process. They have to determine the sales force structure. They have to recruit and train the sales force. And they compensate and motivate the sales force. And finally, they evaluate the sales force. First, sales goal and the sales process. Without goals to achieve, salesperson performance would be mediocre at best, and the company would likely fail. A quota is a statement of salesperson's sales goals, usually based on the sales volume alone, but sometimes including key accounts, such as those with great potential, new accounts, repeat sales, and specific products. So usually goals are developed in terms of desired dollar values, market share, or profit level. Goals are stated as quotas or statements of a salesperson's goals. Personal selling is an expensive way to market products. Having a well-organized sales force can make the process easier and less costly. So, sales department organization is based on the region, based on product line, based on marketing function performed, market or industry, and clients or accounts. This allows for more specific and better customer service. Sales force recruitment should be based on an accurate, detailed description of the sales task as defined by the sales manager. The strongest salesperson have some key characteristics that make them able to excel in personal sales. Firms that sell complex products generally offer the most expensive training programs. So good sales force have to have strong ego, sense of urgency, assertiveness, sociable. They are the risk takers, they are intelligent, they are creative, empathetic, and they are relationship oriented. The right type of sales competition can reduce employee turnover. Many salesperson's career rely on reviews from the customer surveys, and when a compensation plan does not produce the desired sales volume, sales managers often offer rewards or incentives such as recognition at ceremonies, plaques, vacations, merchandise, and pay raise or cash bonuses. Compensation planning is one of the sales manager's toughest jobs. Only good planning will ensure that compensation attracts, motivates, and retains good salesperson. Although the compensation plan motivates a salesperson to sell, sometimes it is not enough to produce the volume of sales or the profit margin required by the sales management. To evaluate the sales force, the sales manager needs feedback, that is the regular information from salespeople. Typical performance measures include sales volume, contribution to profit, calls per order, sales or profit per call, or percentage of calls achieving specific goals, such as sales of products that the firm is heavily promoting. So the performance evaluations allows managers to review the strengths and weaknesses of the sales force, and this information can tell a manager what sales skills might be needed to reassess or retain. Technology will not eliminate the needs for salespeople. Instead, technology can help improve the customer relationship. Technologies such as laptop computers, smartphones, allows salespeople to be more accessible to the customers. The internet provides salespersons with the vast resources of information of clients, competition, and the industry. The internet cost-effectively processes orders and service requests and is freeing sales representatives from tedious administrative tasks to allow more time to focus on client needs.